Welcome to Car Swag. All right, forget your history books, forget your polite introductions. Today, we're not just talking about a car, we're talking about a primal scream wrapped in a rainbow of rebellion. This isn't just another muscle car. This is the Pontiac GTO Judge, and it showed up to the party with a boombox and a bucket of lighter fluid. It didn't just make a statement, it was the statement. Back in the late 60s, the muscle car scene was getting wild. Everyone was trying to out-muscle each other, drop prices, and appeal to the kids who just wanted to go fast and look good doing it. Pontiac, already a kingpin with the GTO, saw the competition nipping at its heels. They saw Plymouth dropping the Roadrunner, a bare-bones speed demon that was cheap and cheerful. Pontiac didn't just want to compete, they wanted to utterly dominate the conversation. So they cooked up something special, something loud, something that wore its intentions like a neon sign. Enter the 1969 GTO Judge. And yeah, that name, it came from a skit on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. You know, that late 60s variety show with the quick jokes and the go-go dancers? That's where the Judge got its moniker. This car wasn't afraid to laugh at itself, even as it was smoking everything else on the street. It was like the class clown who also happened to be the quarterback, charming, a little bit goofy, and completely unstoppable. When this thing rolled off the line, it wasn't just painted, it was announced. Especially in that iconic Carousel red, which, let's be real, was basically bright orange. It was the color of a sunset after a nuclear explosion, or maybe a traffic cone that had a really bad day. This wasn't a car you snuck around in. This was a car that yelled, "I'm here," before you even saw it. And then you saw it. The stripes. Oh, those stripes. Not some subtle pinstripe job. These were bold, thick, racing stripes that screamed performance from every angle. They weren't just decor, they were a declaration of war against subtlety. And don't even get me started on the rear spoiler. That wasn't just for aerodynamics, it was a giant fiberglass middle finger to anyone who thought cars should be quiet and unassuming. This car parked like a gentleman and leaves like a headline. Underneath all that flamboyant paint and paneling was a heart of pure American muscle. We're talking about the Ram Air 3, and if you check the right box, the legendary Ram Air IV. These weren't just engines, these were fire-breathing dragons that ate asphalt for breakfast. You didn't just turn the key, you initiated a controlled explosion. The sound? Oh, the sound. It was like a symphony of thunder and raw power, a bass line that vibrated through your soul. This was the era that sounded like somebody gave a race car a business degree, a very loud, very angry business degree. The sleeper energy meter? Yeah, for the Judge, that needle was buried deep in the sended zone, then broke off and set the whole meter on fire. There was nothing subtle about this machine. It was designed to stand out, to rumble, to leave a trail of rubber and regret in its wake for anyone brave enough to challenge it. This was the original dad car versus bad car debate, except the Judge leaned so heavily into bad car, it probably started a new category, pure menace. Driving one of these? It wasn't a gentle cruise, it was an experience. The steering was heavy, the ride was firm, and the power was always, always there, lurking under your right foot, just waiting for a chance to unleash hell. It demanded your attention, your respect, and probably a good chiropractor after a long drive. You could be a responsible adult or a complete menace. The car let you choose, but it definitely nudged you towards the latter. It was a car that encouraged bad decisions, the kind you tell stories about years later. This wasn't built for the Autobahn or for carving canyons with surgical precision. This was built for the drag strip, for cruising down Main Street, and for making sure everyone knew who was boss. It was a cultural icon, a symbol of freedom and rebellion in a time when everything felt like it was changing. It was the car you saw in movies, the car that soundtracked rock and roll, the car that made you dream of open roads and endless possibilities.
It was cool without trying too hard, because trying too hard wasn't in its vocabulary. Being awesome was. Would you daily it? Man, that's a tough one. On one hand, it's pure swagger, pure American iron. On the other, your chiropractor would probably send you a Christmas card every year. You'd probably look for any excuse to take it out. Groceries? Sure. Pick up the kids? They'd be the coolest kids on the block, but you might need to Uber them on the regular if you value your spine. It's a weekend warrior, a showstopper, a car built for making memories, not mileage. The 1969 GTO Judge wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It was Pontiac's way of saying, we still got it, and we're not afraid to show it. It was brash, it was bold, and it had a personality bigger than most small towns. It was a car that didn't just win races, it won hearts. It carved out its own legend, not by being the fastest or the most expensive, but by being the most unapologetically itself. It's a true American classic, a piece of muscle car royalty that still gets heads turning and jaws dropping. This is the kind of legend we love to roast and toast here. If you dig cars with more personality than your crazy uncle, you know what to do. Hit subscribe at @cr._swag. More legends to roast and toast, one clean photo at a time.